Welcome to ARK Survival Evolved Ragnarok map. This has been my attempt of the hardcore mode challenge that I made into a series of 5-day episodes, and now finally the 100 days is complete. We have survived all the dangerous conditions of the map itself and all the challenges that it threw at us, despite having only one single life to do so. Our boss ready army is ready to go. We've collected all the artifacts that we needed throughout all the caves. We've gathered all the gear, everything we require to finally take on the fire-breathing alpha dragon and poison-spitting elusive manticore. It has all come down to this final moment, and this video is proudly presented by Kruger Ops. This video has taken over 200 hours to make, so I would really appreciate if you like, comment and subscribe to show your support.
For presenting yourself to view my 100-day video, I give you thanks. Might be wondering why my face is all blue, my hair is all long and messy. Aye, we'll get to that a wee later. For now, you're gonna wanna sit back for this.
Now, as always, introductions are in order. This video is proudly inspired by Zany Zebra, NaturalCauzes and Crowmeda. Now, instead of me simply telling you to go and visit their channels, I got them to come and visit us throughout this journey.
Go and finish this challenge.
Hi, Kruger.
Well done, Kruger.
How cool is that? So be sure to be on the lookout for each of these special guest star appearances as they help us throughout our journey. I'm ready to go to the boss arena, so sit back, grab yourself some popcorn, and let me get you caught up on what happened the last 99 days. And if you find a part very enjoyable throughout the video, be sure to go check out the corresponding episode, because it's quite impossible to get all the adventures crammed in this one video. Ah, yes, the infamous start of every ARK journey. Waking up naked and afraid with a scratchy implant embedded in your arm and having no memory on how you got here. After I spawned in, I made my way over to the highlands in search for some rock carrots. Now, why yucky veggies, you might ask? Well, you use these to tame yourself up a trusty steed. And after finding a pretty high level, I did just that, and I called my first friend Timmy. We then had a level 90 PT try and fly past us, but Timmy was ready to hoof him out so we could tame ourselves up a second friend. And by the evening, our PT was done taming, and we called it Scout. It was getting quite cold and dark, and I knew I had to get out of the highlands, but I couldn't make saddles yet, so I had the PT follow me and Timmy as we made our way down the beach. We then stumbled upon a strange washed up whale. Well, hello there! And we went in to harvest its body. Gave us some pretty awesome early game resources: hide, keratin, oil and spoiled meat. But we heard some strange footsteps in the background, and that's when we saw it. A giga right in the direction we were running towards. So being the early game cowards that we were, we hopped on Timmy and we ran for the hills. At the dawn of day 2, we started running towards our base location. We spotted some tempting rexes, to say the least, and we knew we had to come back at some stage for them. But then, we got ambushed by 4 panthers, just magically pounced out of a rock. I thought it was a goner already on day 2, but Timmy wouldn't have that, as he kicked his little heart away. Being outnumbered 4-1, Timmy actually managed to fight them off. And once we were victorious, the 3 of us ran towards the base location. Now the reason I selected this location, it was quite close to a lot of resources. We had metal nodes, crystal, obsidian, organic polymer in the volcano, burned wood for charcoal, beaver dams for cementing paste, and silica pearls nearby. We were out of the reach for most wildlife, and it was a nice central map location. Yeah, the waterfall got a bit annoying, but finally we had an amazing location we could call home. On the start of day 3, we went out wreck scouting and we spotted a pretty high level one. since we already had some spoiled meat, we thought we would start working on a trap and get a Rex tamed.
Sorry, Timmy.
So we farmed out the material for a cheap trap and collected everything we would need to get a cryopod. And by the evening we flew towards a drop to make it.
2 hours later.
The PT was super encumbered, so it took ages to fly to the nearest drop.
3 hours later.
Finally we made it there, we made our cryopods and we were ready to go on day 4 to tame our first Rex. On the start of day 4, I was placing my traps and ready to trap the Rex. But then I saw it, an annoying galley running in our direction, and of course the Rex was chasing him. I then quickly hopped on Scout, and then I realized I left Timmy behind. Honestly, I'm a lot more fond of Timmy than the PT, so yeah, if the PT had to die, he had to die. I ran back as quick as I could, hopped on Timmy, and wanted to hardtail it out of there. But then I thought, let me try and kite him in, and it went pretty okay. Took 2-3 attempts, but finally I had the Rex inside the trap, and I was able to get a billboard snapped behind him. Definitely not my best placement, and finally we were able to start shooting the Rex, and in a matter of no time he went down. I then made my way over to the highlands in search for some mutton. I did however get a little bit distracted when I spotted a unicorn, and he was a pretty high level as well. Now since it's quite rare occurrence to find a unicorn, I knew I had to have him. I quickly went over to the farming area to grab some more rock carrots, made it back, and I tamed up my unicorn.
Alright, that is, we're gonna name you Ovis, since that's actually what we came here looking for.
And after my unicorn was tamed, I finally managed to spot a real Ovis. I quickly murdered the poor black sheep of the family, and I slaughtered him for his mutton. And just before it turned evening, we took the lamb chops back to the Rex. Since he's been lying down starving for quite some time, he was already good to go for the taming process. So I named him Lewis after my first ARK friend. So on the start of day 5 I went out looking for an Anki. Unfortunately I only found a high level in the snow area, so I decided I would get some wood so I can make some campfires. But of course I didn't check my surroundings and a wolf came in to attack me. Now luckily he aggroed on the PT first, and I was able to make a run for it. I tried to whistle the PT back, but not being too familiar with PC controls I couldn't get him on passive, so I decided he would be a sacrifice and I made a run for it. My conscience did bother me, so I tried one more time to get the PT on passive, and finally I found the magical key. Once the PT was on passive, he followed me away, and since nothing was following us, he made quite an easy escape and went searching elsewhere. That elsewhere turned out to be the freaking desert, as this was the only spot I could find another high level. Luckily I had a nice ledge I could stand on, and I safely started tranking the Anki, and just before the stroke of midnight I shot the final arrow and he went down. Now the real metal farming can begin.
I decided to risk it all on day 6, and we are heading out to try and go get some wyvern eggs.
To be on the safe side, I made myself a trap designed by Captain Fat Dog at the exit of the wyvern trench. This way, if any pesky wyverns follow me out, they might get stuck on this.
So with that, the trap was in place. Let's go get us some eggs.
We finally tracked down a pretty high level, a 165 fire egg, so we had to have it. So we whipped up the egg, hopped on the PT, and started running for the hills. It seemed like we didn't have anything behind us, so I was quite relaxed and we were making our way to the exit. It wasn't until I decided to look back when I realized a lightning was chasing us.
I think we've got one right behind us. Oh.
I couldn't believe my luck as I managed to dodge his lightning breath, so I definitely had to get a slow motion replay to see that again for myself. If just one of these hit me for more than 2 or 3 seconds, this PT and most likely I would have been a goner.
I have no idea how he just missed me.
And by that evening, we safely made it back with our new Wyvern egg, but then we found out we would need a lot of ACs to get it to incubate. I decided I would dedicate the next 2 days for farming, so I started working on a farming area, breeding area and a dino pen.
Later that same evening.
I then flew over to a nearby location in search for some silica pearls, as I would need to make electronics to get a whole bunch of air conditioners made to get the Wyvern egg hatched. At the start of day 8, I continued farming, making structures and avoiding anyone that would try to distract me from my goal. By that evening, I went out to farm up some crystal. I dove down in the water and I had to do quite a few trips as the PT could only carry 150 at a time. And on day 9, I took the Rex out to the volcanic area to get some organic poly, as this would be the final ingredient that I would need to make the ACs to hatch the Wyvern. I made it back to base with all the poly, and while I was still waiting for some metal to cook, I started making some of the ACs and worked on the breeding area a bit.
Montage.
I finally managed to get a generator down, so I started placing all the ACs. I then decided to make a little dino pin so my tames would no longer get wet. Finally, I started working on the breeding area, so I dropped some stairs and some railings so the babies won't simply fall off. And since I wasn't using gamma, I placed quite a lot of lights since it got super dark at night. Just before the break of dawn, I finally managed to hatch my Wyvern egg, and I named the Wyvern after a good ARK friend of mine, Logos. On the start of day 10, I was lucky enough to spot a 145 female Rex. This would be perfect for my breeding line, I had to have her. So I made quick work of placing a trap, and then I kited the Rex over. This time my billboards were slightly better placed. And in no time I had the Rex in the trap.
That's the nice thing about being on top of a Wyvern. You get that extended placement range.
The problem was, it was such a good find, but in a horrible location. As soon as I started tranking the Rex, I realized my health was going down so quickly from the cold. It seemed it would be a complete loss, as my health simply got too low and I had to make a run for it. By the time I was all healed up, it was pitch black. I used a big brain moment and realized I've got a fire Wyvern. So I decided I would use my flame breath to help myself see at night. And with one final lucky flame, the Rex was now again in my sight. My health got pretty low yet again, but a sigh of relief came when I finally had the Rex knocked out. At the start of day 11, I finally started working on my little Rex army, even though I'm planning to take on the Dragon and Manticore with a half split of Rexes and Theris. Started working on the babies and I managed to get high HP in the one line and high melee in the other. So I did some imprinting and continued raising more babies in the hope to get these stats blended together. I decided on day 12 that I wanted a home that I could be proud of.
Follows is a brief construction montage.
I started working on the outer shell and I set myself a goal of 300 subscribers. If I would reach this, I would decorate my house in a furniture mod. Coming from console, I've never really played with mods before. On the start of day 13, I made my way over to the ice cave since I need a pump action shotgun. I didn't have any luck with the loot crates here and I was in dire need for one for all the adventures in store. I then decided to take the long flight to the desert.
52 kilometers later.
Once I reached the desert, I was already overheating, so clearly my ghillie pants alone was just not doing the trick. I couldn't spend too much time here, and since I forgot my GPS and had to rely on my map to find the loot crates, I could only find about 2 of them. Unfortunately, I was still not lucky in finding a shotgun. Once I was making my way back to base though, I remembered that I found a pretty good crossbow. Now, I can make some flame arrows and maybe this will work well against the Icequeen.
So I made a quick trip over to a location I knew for some cactus sap, and then flew over to the volcano to grab some sulfur. But idiot me thought this rock was sulfur, and the golem nearly got me, but luckily I helped on the wyvern just in time. I continued searching around, and finally I discovered the real sulfur rocks. So I went in for the landing and started farming them up. I had a quick stop on my oil pump before going to base, and once I collected the oil, I started making my propellant so I would finally be able to make some flame arrows. I also finally had enough material to make myself an industrial cooker. This way mate brews would be a lot easier to farm out. Day 14, I was going loot crate after loot crate to find as much gear as possible to take on the Icequeen, since I set a goal to take it on by day 15 and I was running out of time, so I spent the entire day doing this. Day 15, I find myself in the ice cave on the back of Timmy. I started fighting some ice worms, but it wasn't like the guides. There were so many spawning on top of one another. It came to a point where I nearly lost Timmy, and at the first opportunity I could get, I managed to get him in a cryopod. I knew I couldn't continue this way, so I thought I would cryo him up and make my way out. So I started fighting my way to get out of the cave. I then went in to try a different route, just to see what it would be like, but I only then realized I couldn't use grapples in here. So I was now forced to continue this journey, not having any tames left other than my wyvern. I made it to the boss arena, but unfortunately my wyvern didn't survive the fight, as I was an idiot and left him on aggressive, and I wanted to hop off and shoot the Icequeen with my shotgun. I was now left trapped, on foot, only forced to rely on my wooden shield. I knew it wouldn't be able to take too much more punches, so I shot a few fire arrows and hoped that the burn damage would slowly take its effect. But it didn't seem like it did much, so I switched back to my shotgun and I tried to get the final shots in. And there it was, I finally had my victory of the Icequeen. After I was victorious, I searched the cave for some more loot and stumbled upon the lair of the Icequeen, where she was feeding a giga to her babies. I made my way over, grabbed the artifact, and I got out of the cave as quick as possible. At the start of day 16, I was out of the cave, but I was not in the clear just yet. I had to rely on Timmy, even though he was still pretty badly damaged, just to try and get me out of the very dangerous area. Once I made it clear from all the spinos in the area, I tried to cryo Timmy up, but then this happened.
No!
Since Timmy had been with me since day 1, I knew I had to have a proper burial. I got dressed in all black, and so did all the tames, and they came out to say their final goodbyes. I named Anki. I'm sorry. Scout, you guys have been together since day 1. I don't really know what to say. Here lies Timmy and Logos. Timmy, you were so much more than just a work mule. I'll really miss all our farming trips together, and honestly, this journey just won't be the same without you. Goodbye, my friend. Logos, you were my eyes in the sky, my light when I couldn't see, my drop hunting companion, and I don't think I would have survived the Icequeen if it wasn't for your sacrifice. You will be missed. So I then hopped on all the Rexes, and they gave a depressing roar as they said their final goodbyes to our 2 fallen heroes. I then hopped on Ovis as he gave a war cry. We grabbed our shotgun and shot 2 rounds in the sky in remembrance of our 2 fallen heroes at war. One by one, all the tames went back to deal with everything on their own terms. And as everyone had left, I sat in the evening sky, remembering the good times I shared with my friends.
On the start of day 17, I knew I needed to replace the Wyvern I've just lost at battle, so I made my way over to the Scar and was lucky enough to find a level 155 lightning egg. And after quickly escaping through my trap, I dropped down the lightning egg and waited patiently for it to hatch. When he popped, he had some pretty cool colors and I was very happy to finally have a lightning wyvern again, so I named him Zeus. Once the God of Thunder was all finished raising, I decided to head over to the Snow Mountains in search of a Uranus. I knew this would be a very necessary tame to buff my Rexes and Theris when I take on the boss. I only spotted a whole bunch of low levels, so I decided to kill all of them off in the hope to get a higher level to finally spawn in. And after searching the entire day, by the evening I finally found myself a high level one. I went in to kill off her Carno boyfriend, and once he was dealt with, I placed myself a trap and I was ready to shoot the Yuri and lure her over. I managed to get her in my pin and I started shooting over trank darts. Fed her some prime meat, and by the evening she was all tamed up and mine. I realized I couldn't keep taming things outside in the wild, so I decided on day 18 to construct myself a taming pin, so I could fly tames over and knock them out in the comfort of my own backyard. I still had some time left in the day, so I flew over to the monkey cave to grab the artifact of the strong and dropped it off at base. On day 19 I went out looking for a Theri, but I found myself a little monkey friend, so I named him Steve. I continued the search and I managed to find a high level Theri, so I grabbed it and started flying it back towards base. I made it back and executed a perfect drop off. I should definitely not get cocky about these because sooner or later it's gonna go wrong, but this time it didn't, so I started shooting my tickle chicken with trank darts in the face. She finally started running, so I knew she was close and I shot the final arrows to take her down. By night time, the tickle chicken was finally ours and we decided to name her Hey Hey, because that's the coolest chicken I know.
Hey Hey?
On day 20 I started farming for all the gear and materials I would need to make the rockets and ammunition to take on the jungle cave. I then spotted the Megatherium and decided this would help me when I go for the jungle cave. So I made my way over to the base and dropped him off perfectly in our taming pin. I then started shooting our new friend with trank darts until he passed out, but he would only finish taming by the next day. On day 21, I decided to go after some easy artifacts. So I grabbed a shotgun and a whole bunch of torches and made my way over to the Carnivorous Caverns. Now, this cave is super dark and quite confusing, and I wanted to experience the whole journey without using guides. So, I came up with another big brain plan, as I would be like Hansel and Gretel and leave myself standing torches as the breadcrumbs that I could use to make my way back again. I continued navigating my way through the cave, leaving myself torch after torch that I would eventually use if I get stuck or if I need to get out very quickly. I did however not bring enough torches, as I was pretty much running out before I even reached the first artifact. But finally I was there, and first I had to bully a little Megalania. I then went over to grab Artifact of the Cunning. Once I had the artifact, I made my way down this scary hole. I dropped onto the ground, even though I grappled to the edge, didn't really help me in any way. So, I continued my journey, following all the torches that I placed to navigate the way I should go. It worked brilliantly. I definitely got a little bit too overexcited from a big brain moment, and as I started sprinting, I ran down a cliff and I nearly died. And as day 22 started, I continued making my way to the second artifact in the same cave. Well, hello there! But since our new buddy wasn't interested in talking to us, we continued the journey
and stumbled upon an open room where we finally found the second artifact. And yes, there she was, Artifact of the Immune. I then located all my torches, and it worked brilliantly, just following light after light. I did, however, manage to kill quite a few Megalania on the way out, and that would definitely help towards the boss tributes. And once I was done, I made my way over to the Redwoods, where I could find another artifact. I was met with a nice moose welcoming party, and I made my way inside the cave.
There she is. This is the artifact of the breed, so very easy one to grab as well.
I went out loot crate hunting, but I stumbled upon a little piggy.
But he executes the drop just perfectly.
Now again, remember, I keep telling myself not to be cocky. This is soon gonna bite me in the ass. But yet another successful drop off. So I quickly knocked out my little piggy, and once he was done and all tamed up, I named him Mr. Bacon. On day 24, I realized I would need fertilizer, so I could get my crops growing in order to make bug repellent. So I quickly made work of placing the irrigation, as I was way too lazy to go and tame a Phiomia, and I placed myself a toilet. But I wasn't ready to poop just yet, so after sitting for a while, nothing coming out, I decided to go around collecting donations. So I went around to each one of my tames and grabbed their poop. Fortunately, they were pooping quite a lot, so I was able to get the greenhouse running so I could make the citronal and get the bug repellent I would need to take on the jungle cave. And finally, I was ready to poop.
Finally, okay, so I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you poop and you flush it, you can keep going.
That is, until you poop on the floor. Dumbass. On day 25, I was geared up and ready to head to the lava golem, so I started making my way through the dangerous jungle cave. There are so many nasties in there, but luckily I had just the right tame for it. I tried to conserve as much ammunition as possible, hoping Ted would kind of sort all of them out, but there were just too many insects swarming me, so I had to start fighting my way through them. Luckily, I managed to get a quick gap to get away from them and hop on Ted so we could finish up the fight. We then started slaughtering all the insects, and Ted seemed to be pretty much overpowered. Once the rooms were clear, we made our way through the rest of the cave until we found the artifact. And there she was, the artifact of the hunter. I needed to make my way over nerve-wracking lava.
Right, we got the artifact.
And we made our way over to the lava golem. We're at his lair. I'm disturbing the lava golem. I wanted to find myself a cliff, so I could just shoot him from up there. And luckily I made my way up to a pretty nice spot. Right, so that's kind of my strategy. Mr. Rocket there. As soon as he's gonna throw his rocks, I'm just gonna crouch behind this. Like now. Although foolish me couldn't stay up there, and I just fell down. I had a pretty lucky escape as he came in for a smack. And I must say, this was quite an epic, nerve-wracking battle. He somehow got me there. He managed to hit me with another boulder, but this was only the fire part. I thought, his attacks aren't that bad. That is until this happened. Oh boy, oh boy, the boulder shredded my health, and the fire nearly drained me to complete death. I'm sick of being there. No. Oh. And finally, after some food and water, I was good to go again. So I switched over to first person, and this time, I would finish the job. Got like 9 shots left. I literally brought just enough rockets and rocket launchers. We got him!
We got him. We got him. We got him. Alright.
On day 26, I tried to make it safely out of the cave. I didn't have a lot of gear left.
And then I had the most stupid moment as I thought I had my crossbow out and I chucked my poor Ted into the lava.
I did not just do that. Rest in peace, Ted. I'm sorry for my foolish mistake. But I seriously just... After being annoyed with myself, I finally really took out my crossbow and shot my final grappling hook. And used my final parachute. So I would now have to take on the cave. It is what it is. No more parachutes, no more grapples. 6 shotgun shells, no Timmy, no Ted, no nothing. Already got a bat on me, come on. Seriously, rabies again? This was bad. This was really bad. Having rabies again that would slowly drain my health, I was just forced to run and run as fast as I could. I don't know if I'm gonna survive this. I finally made it over to the crouch point, so I would be safe from the bats. But I would now have to sit back and see if I'm gonna survive this. This will be, by far, the closest encounter to death. Is this gonna be it? My health continued to drain, and honestly, the anxiety was horrible. 7. But somehow, I would survive. Yet to tell another tale.
Oh, there it is. There's the light. The light at the end of the tunnel. Finally, we're making it out of here.
Follows is a brief construction montage.
It was quite nice to relax today. So, I started by lowering some foundations. Then I built out the front triangle of the raft. I did a similar style at the back and placed some stairs. Then the glass walls so I could see where I'm sailing, and some glass at the back. I placed some stone walls in between and I finished up the ceiling, doing a mix between half of the greenhouse and half stone ceilings. I then put some sloped glass ceilings again and a staircase so I could make my way up. And of course I needed some railing so I won't just fall down when I'm on deck. I hope you enjoyed the little quick raft build.
And there she is, our little majestic sailboat. Because we've got a bit of pirate adventures coming up. Finally, the open seas. What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor? What will we do with a drunken sailor early in the morning? Yar, Ovis, yar! Shave his belly with a rusty razor. Shave his belly with a rusty razor early in the morning. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises. Way, hey, up she rises early in the morning. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober. Put him in a longboat till he's sober early in the morning. Yar, Ovis! Yar, the open seas! Yar!
After going full pirate, we finally made it to our destination, and after being stuck for a few seconds, we were finally in the waters. I went in to check the level, forgetting I had my HUD turned off. Finally, correcting myself,
saw she was a pretty good level, so I tried to trap both of them. It went somewhat majestically. So I started placing my stone gates. Had a little bit too big of a gap between the first two, but I quickly dropped my doors in as they were swimming behind me, and I dropped the second door behind them, and it seemed like they were trapped. I then grabbed the mutton and the narcotics that I would need, and I made my way back down to her. I fed her the mutton, and she was tamed in no time, and finally made my way back to the raft. I then enjoyed the sunset, as going down in the water at nighttime is just complete suicide, so I would rather wait until the next day. Since I am gonna need a very good water tome if I want to be collecting some Tuso tributes, so let's see if we can find one. Pretty much spent the entire day swimming around just looking for a Mosa or Plesiosaur, but I had no luck. So as it was getting dark, I went back to the raft, cried up the angler, and decided I would search again the next day. Angler was super spooked. He just swam off, so I was kind of forced to try and lure in the Mosa on flipper, on foot, I don't know what you would call it. So after a few attempts, I finally managed to get the aggro. Oh, that it. I thought with flippers and my movement speed, I would be okay. Oh, you need to swim, buddy. I don't even want to look behind me, but I got it. Oh. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. I was literally one bite away from being dead. And finally I saw he was aggroed on the gate. She's at the back. Okay, like, might have an opportunity here. So I did a risky maneuver, went in, opened the gate and swam out the top. Oh, and that is it. She's in. Whew. I didn't grab all my arrows, so I hope the ascended crossbow would do the job. I think she's running. I shot the final arrow, and down he went. I quickly made my way back to the raft so I could regain stamina and heal up, kill the ogres, grab the mutton I would need, and I fed everything to the mosasaur so he could finish up taming. There we go. On day 31, I decided to go get some honey. I encountered a weird glitch where the bees were attacking me, but I couldn't even see them. Once my health was on 8, I realized just how close the call was. I quickly got the hell out of there, and I went to trap myself a Quetzal with my honey. There we go, one more. Now we should be able to drop the one right on the ground where we want him to come. This is a pretty nifty trick I learned back in the day, so as the Quetzal tries to get the honey, you're able to get a trap snapped around him. I then started tranking the Quetzal, and he went down in no time. I decided to name him Air Force Juan, as I had some pretty big plans in store for him. On day 32, I went out to tame myself a whole bunch of jerboas. Pretty much spent half of the day just collecting as many of these fuzzy friends as I possibly could. And after taming them, I would need a special way to get them back to base. I then placed all the structures I brought onto Air Force Juan, and I was good to go. Once the structures were done, I placed some chairs, and I was able to start the boarding process. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I want to welcome you aboard Air Force One today, and our destination is Ragnarok Canyon. We'll be cruising at an altitude of 100 feet, so I do want to ask that you keep your seatbelt fastened at all times and enjoy your flight. Thank you for choosing Air Force One. And just like that, our first commercial flight was off.
Just look at these guys. Look at these faces. Oh, they're adorable. I'm super happy. I don't even feel stressed anymore. Like, this was pretty cool. I then realized I've been a pretty bad father. So I ran through my nice newly decorated home since I reached my sub goal. There is a special video out for it. You guys are welcome to check it out. I then grabbed my little poor neglected child Steve, and we were off on a little camping adventure. After we made our wooden hut, I dropped down some chairs and we bonded over some fishing. Now, fishing in ARK is pretty much like fishing in real life. It took me hours to get the first nibble on it, so I sat around, had some nice conversation with my son, and
2 hours later.
finally I had some nibbles. Alright, here we go, we got one. This is the mini game. Ah, there we go, we got him in. And once all our fun was over, on day 34 we hopped on Zeus to go farm out some silica pearls and everything we would need for the gear so we could take on the Labyrinth Cave. So me and Steve hopped in the water and grabbed some silica pearls so we could make our riot gear. We still didn't have a clue where the angler was, so this was the only method. Once we had enough, we went to kill some mantis so we could get organic polymer. This way we could make the shotguns and finish up the riot gear. After a brief search, we then went looking for a raptor. We found one close to where Timmy was killed, and hopefully these guys are related to the one that killed Timmy. We knocked out the raptor, and while he was busy taming, a microraptor started attacking me, and he would make the perfect second sacrifice. Once he was done, I started making my way over to the cave. So on the start of day 35, I find myself in the Labyrinth Cave, adamant to finish the left hand side in search of the artifacts and taking on the ghosts. We'll see how it goes. Be super careful in this room, because you touch any of the rubble or statues, you can get lit on fire. So we made our way over to the left door and then did some parkour. This cave is truly a challenge of your parkour skills. Unless you've got climbing picks, but I was forced to do it the hard way. There were so many of these hallways where you had to jump from one ledge to another, but luckily we made it through without too much of a headache. I hope this isn't some trick. Alright. Finally we were making our way towards the artifact. And I do think that's it. We should have the artifact. There we go. The artifact of the Skylord. After grabbing the artifact, I made my way over to the sacrificial chambers, where I could finally get rid of some raptors. So as we come into the sacrificial room, once I was healed up, I chucked the annoying raptor into his death hole, and I enjoy watching the burning karma. And after our noble sacrifices, our door opened up and we made our way over to the boss arena. I entered the arena by the start of day 36 to fight the spirit tames. In this arena, you fight spirit direbears and spirit direwolves that all spawn in increments of 50 levels. After the first wave was done, the second wave proved a little bit more tricky, so I knew I had to make quick work of this direbear and find myself high ground again. But just as I made it up and I thought I was out of reach of the spirits, a direwolf knocked me down. Direwolf got me in a corner and a direbear came in to assist him. I was pretty trapped, but luckily the new shotgun did its work. As I tried to get to my higher ground, the direbear was right on my tail, so I was forced to finish the fight. He wrecked my riot gear leggings, and once I took him down, the wolf took my final piece of armor out, but luckily we had our victory. Two more artifacts just like that. So we have Artifact of the Devious and the Artifact of the Massive. Once we grabbed our artifacts, we made it out the cave. And on the start of day 37, I went scouting for a second Theri.
Awesome. I'm super lucky today. I think this is a good sign. It's gonna be a good day.
If only I could tell myself that this was definitely not gonna be a good day. Once we reached base, we went to drop the Theri in our trap. Something we've done perfectly so many times before. But today...
Today our pilot skills aren't what they usually are. Oh, no, not Steve. Not Steve. Steve's down there.
You see, this is why you don't get cocky. Right. Just as I thought I had the situation under control, the Theri got to Steve.
No! You killed Steve! At least I had that final bonding opportunity with Steve, but that really kind of sucks. I don't even know if I still want you, you stupid chicken.
And third time was the charm. I finally got the tickle chicken inside, but it came at a very, very heavy price.
Oh, Steve.
For some reason, Steve was on neutral, so I collected Steve's body and I went to say goodbye to my friend.
Steve, I'm so sorry.
We barely got to know each other. I'm just really thankful that I took the time to have that special fishing trip with you. I'm really gonna miss you a lot, buddy. Rest in peace, Steve. You are a good neglected child.
Right, hey. This is your husband. I don't like him very much at the moment because he killed Steve.
On the start of day 38,
we'll see
the
if
Theri
we
finished
get
taming, so I introduced him to Hey.
Now it's time to get some chicken babies.
I then watched in a distance as the tickle chickens laid their first egg.
Here we go. Got our first egg. Come on. When are we gonna get some twins or triplets? He's a very cute guy though.
I had a quick look of his stats, and this again gave me the inspiration to naming him. These imprints are actually pretty close, so I definitely can't be going away from base while I'm raising these guys. So yeah, I'm pretty much spending the entire day here today. And by the end of the day, our chicken army was starting to come together nicely. On day 39, we thought it would be a good idea to try and tame a giga.
And it is a good level. Okay.
We quickly dropped to the ground and placed our metal trap. 3 dino gates placed in a U-shape and billboards to kite the giga towards the center. I hopped off Zeus to fire another shot to get her aggro. I thought I would just wait back and place the gate as she would run in. But the annoying giga simply stopped and started biting me from a distance. And of course she turned out yet again. I'm not winning. I'm just like not winning at all today. I decided I would have one more attempt at it. I've never struggled this much with a giga, so I was getting quite frustrated. And finally I had her in the trap. But the bleed damage took its toll.
Zeus!
Zeus would not die in vain. I would get this giga one way or another, so I had one final attempt on foot. This would either be the bravest or the most stupid thing I would do. I had my opportunity and I ran in to place the gate.
So how far can we get this gate placed? Playing with fire. That worked actually. I don't know how.
And I started celebrating too early as she glitched out of the trap yet again. There was no time to even mourn my friend. I had to grab what I could and get out of the desert. I took one more look back to say goodbye to my friend, and I started running for my life. I then tamed myself up a Gallimimus and 2 raptors as backup. It was the weirdest convoy ever, but I had to rely on this to get me home. And once we were ready, we started making our way towards home. We thought it might be a safer way to go towards the mountains. I did start to get a bit of confidence, as it did seem we would make it back home safely. I then hopped into safety while I waited for the raptors to catch back up again. We continued the journey, but it was starting to get darker. Trying to stay on the mountain edge as far as possible. We then stumbled upon a strange cave, and we thought we might set up base here for the evening. But ARK had something else in store. I don't really know where I am. Feels like... What's this? Warm food and... Wait, warm food? Warm clothes and food inside. What this is super weird. Oh no. Get out, no! These guys are trapping me in. My raptor posse betrayed me as the tranking effect started to take place. I couldn't get out. And eventually I passed out and I heard strange laughter in the background. We find ourselves waking up in a very, very familiar castle, with no recollection on how we actually got here. But what I can tell you guys is that the person that has kidnapped us is one of the biggest ARK legends. He's actually the reason I got into the entire series, and I want to ask you guys to warmly welcome our very, very special guest, the founding father of the 100-day ARK Hardcore series, the legend himself, Zany Zebra.
Hello, Kruger. I know there must be many questions as to why you're being held here. Well, let's start with a proper introduction, shall we? I am Mr. Boney, and I'm one of the founding fathers of the Hardcore Challenge on ARK. This map was one of my first attempts, and my story has yet to be told of when I die. I've been coming here every year at Halloween to search for my long-lost friend. So many years ago, I was doing the challenge on this map. I had a very special Minecraft girlfriend with me. We adopted a Jerboa, and we were living a good life. Well, she didn't make it, but I failed her, and I was separated from our Jerboa, who is also known as Jeffrey. And as you can see, I'm damaged, I'm old, I'm made of bone, I have a different accent. And because of that, I've never been able to get back to him. But I'm afraid that even with your stature, you will soon understand my issue. All I have left of him are my paintings. There, some nice paintings.
Well, I do mean you are the painting goat of ARK.
Well, why thank you. But I can paint with your blood, so please be quiet. You see, Kruger, I've noticed your passion for Jerboas, and I thought you are the ideal person to help me this year and find him.
Well, I mean, I guess I can do that.
You guess? You don't have a choice, my friend. See, I have all your Jerboas, your feisty Jerboas, and if you don't return my Jeffrey to me before the full moon on the 5th day from now, I will execute them all.
Well, where did you die? I mean, I can't be searching the entire map in 5 days.
Take notes, as all I can tell you is look for a structure, a temple erected in my honor near the Crystal Wyvern Trench. You will find your clue there.
I mean, since I'm helping you, can't you just tell me?
Be quiet, Kruger, and be off with you. Oh, not again. I'm
Get him,
stuck.
Jerboas, get him!
These rabbit creatures.
So, I hopped back on my galley and I continued the adventure to try and get back safely to base. I knew I couldn't take this task lightly. Mr. Boney was definitely not kidding around. And I didn't want to lose all the Jerboas I worked so hard for to getting. So I started making my way back and I realized I would definitely need to get myself a new flyer. But I also have to be super cautious because 5 days in ARK is not a lot of time. I would need to fix all my armor, redo all my bullets because I'm pretty much low on all my ammunition at the moment before I can even attempt any sort of challenge or adventure that lies in store. And finally, I made my way safely back to base. I finally spotted a high-level griffin. This has been the first one I found in the entire 40 days I've been here. So I placed my 4 dino gates about a foundation length apart and snapped in the doors. I was ready to trap myself my first griffin. I think my spacing's good. Right, what's up, Mr. Griffin? So I shot him with a dart to get his aggro, but he was much more focused on his stego.
I don't fight the stego. Don't fight the stego. Oh, if this stego murders him,
I would go absolutely insane.
right, I'll help you, then you'll see why we can be friends, okay?
So I decided I would team up with the griffin to help him kill the stego, to eliminate the risk of him dying.
Need to get stamina. Get stamina, Mr. PT. I can't lose another time, I swear.
But finally the stego was dead and I was able to lure the griffin into the trap.
Stay here. Aggro on the PT. And there we go. Piece of cake. Super smooth.
I then proceeded to knock out the griffin. He went down in no time. It got dark, but luckily I still had my shotgun on me, so it provided a little bit of light until the griffin finished aiming.
I don't want to be losing my Jerboa, so I'm going to make my way towards the statue erection chamber he was talking about. Still have no idea. I think I know where it is. Like, I've got an idea about a structure that's nearby there. So hopefully I am right in what I'm thinking. I've got a statue of Zany here, which is pretty awesome, and I'm assuming this is his special lady friend. Alright, we're getting somewhere. Still don't know what this all means. A wolf and his lady friends. Oh wait, there's one more room. Okay, a dire bear. That's just making me miss Steve a little bit. Started putting the clues together, as there's only one place on this map where dire bears and dire wolves are working together. Wait, what are these? So I went over to the little spirit butterflies, and once I looked in the water, I felt something come over me. I started having a vision or something of Zany on his adventure.
What in the... What is this? Yeah, I don't really like this very much. Oh. Okay then. Interesting. Seems that we're trapped. I guess that's fun. This does not look good at all. I think I know what this is. Jeffrey? Goodbye.
Zany didn't know about the sacrificing, and since he couldn't bring himself to sacrifice his best friend, he sacrificed himself and ended his journey.
that is so bad. I can't believe he would have done that. Alright, that settles it. Like, we're prepping. We're gonna finish that second Labyrinth Cave today and get his long-lost friend back. Like, there's just no two ways about it. So I took the Anki out to grab a whole bunch of metal. I then flew him back to base on Air Force 1. I then made a quick trip to the volcano to get some much needed obsidian. Then made my way back to the volcano to kill some mantis, since I would also need organic polymer. And I managed to get all my gear repaired so I could take on the cave. Must say, I really didn't think we were gonna be here this quickly again, but let's see if we can find Jeffrey. So if he's not in here, I'm gonna be pretty much screwed. I went back to the fork, this time pressing the button revealing the right hand door,
and I navigated through the cave to get the artifact.
I started to panic a bit as Jeffrey was nowhere in sight and I was running out of time. No, don't tell me that. But then finally I spotted him. Jeffrey, buddy! Oh, am I happy to see you. You know, your father's kind of looking for you. Jeffrey looks a little bit on the hungry side. Right, come on, buddy. We need to get you back to your daddy. We finally made it through, pushed the button, and this time we would fight the spirits with Hey Hey. Oh, Hey Hey is just absolutely cruising through these guys. I got into a bit of trouble as all my armor started to break one by one. Oh, Hey Hey's encumbered. But I knew these were the final two, so I managed to get the wolf taken out, and I shot every single round as fast as I could into the dire bear in the hope to get him down before he shreds through me. And then finally, we had victory yet again. Ooh, should have definitely just stayed on Hey Hey. That would have been a lot safer. But we didn't really have time to celebrate. It was already about to be nighttime. So I cried up Hey Hey and quickly made a run for the exit. And by the time I made it out, it was already pitch black. I knew I had to rush as quick as I could. I think I'm gonna be too late. Mr. Boney? Mr. Boney, I'm here.
It's too late. You are not. Is that who I think it is?
I've got a friend for you.
Jeffrey. You're somewhat alive. I'm sorry for leaving you. I should have never left you. Thank you, Kruger, and I apologize for chainsawing you. Go and finish this challenge. Go off and finish what I set off to do so many years ago.
I promise I will make you proud, Mr. Boney. I still wanted to thank Mr. Boney for my very inspirational speech, but he was already gone. And just like that, he disappeared. On the start of day 46, I made my way back to Mr. Boney's lair, lined up at the loading dock, and I started grabbing my jerboas one by one and flew them back to base. Time to drop off the artifact. I didn't know it yet, but I was about to be visited by yet another spirit trapped on this map.
And there we go. We now have just one more artifact left. I think I'm gonna sit down and have a bit of a meeting and plan out how I'm gonna go about getting it, because it is an underwater one, so I'll most likely take the Moser out that I haven't even used before. But first I need to do some research here and find out where exactly it is.
Now, Mr. Boney told me it was somewhere over here. Let me just have a quick look at my GPS here, make sure I'm going in the right direction. I think it was somewhere over here. Let me have a quick peek over the ledge here. Ah, there it is. Hello, hello, hello. Let me just quickly...
Unknowingly, I still did my planning.
That beautiful jacuzzi there in the water. And he'd left some glass on the ceiling for me. Perfect. Easy way in.
And I went over to take a quick poo.
Leave your roof unattended. Nice. And straight. Ah, I got off. No. You know what? I'll just. Ha! He actually left his door unlocked. Perfect. Just walk straight in. Nice and
I
easily.
heard someone running past me and head upstairs. So I had to go and investigate.
Splish splash, I was taking a bath. Oh, let's just get into something a little bit more comfortable. There we go. Nice. Ah, refreshing water. Feels so good on the bones. Mr. Boney was right.
Is there someone there?
No. No one here. No hablo inglés, por favor.
Excuse me, sir. Who are you and why are you in my jacuzzi?
Hi Kruger. How you doing? Doing good? I was just told about your little house over here. Your tails are making their way through the spirit world, so I figured I'd come hang out, you know? Now, you see, Kruger, Mr. Boney was telling me about you, right? And how you like able to help him save his Jerboa, and I've always had this dream. Like, just right now, I'm gonna tell you a story. I've always had this dream of fighting the Dodo Rex during Halloween. But since it doesn't spawn in Ragnarok, and I'm kinda stuck here of dying during my challenge, I need you to help me fulfill my dream.
Wait, how did you die? No, wait, don't tell me. From natural causes, right?
So smart, don't you? No. But I did think you might recognize me. Well, you see, Kruger, there is a tale about a legendary temple on a small island off the coast of the Green Orb. In this temple, it's believed that there is a sacred scroll on how to summon the Dodo Rex. But I do have something that you want if you complete this challenge with me. I have a blueprint that you have been searching for quite a while at this point.
That is tempting. Well, okay. Let me see what I can do. I've got some things planned, but give me a few days and I'll reach out to you. How do I even call you?
Don't worry about that. I'll call you because I'm like always watching. You know, I'll be here.
Right. I think on that note, it's my time to leave. I'm definitely gonna have to retire the Pegomastic since he turned out to be a pretty useless guard dog. After the chat with Mr. X, I decided to get a move on. Alright, let's see if we can track down the mysterious temple. And clearly, I was in the right place, as I saw a little dodo statue at the entrance. I definitely think this is it. Wonder if these are Dodo Rex bones because they're pretty huge. Hope you're not through there, Mr. Dodo Rex. I'm just here for a little. Oh boy. Alright, so we've got a sleeping Dodo Rex here. I then made my way over to the mysterious cabinet and grabbed the scroll. What does this read? To summon the Dodo Rex. Kill 10 dodos with a Rex at exactly midnight on a full moon while saying 3 times loud, Dodo Rex, Dodo Rex, Dodo Rex. Also type On day 47, I made my way over to the redwoods to get myself a breeding pair of Thylos. I managed to get the final dart in, and my first Thylo was officially knocked. I did think, however, I was in a safe spot and he wouldn't be able to get to me. Look at this dude. Come on, fuck you, Becky. You can get up here. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. You're gorgeous. Your teeth are beautiful. I didn't even get a chance to see your level. But finally, he was running. Luckily, he was trapped on a boulder, so I was able to catch up to him and shoot the final darts to get him knocked out. But yeah, I'm pretty much gonna spend today working on as much metal, silica pearls, hide and fiber as possible while I continuously raise a whole bunch of Thylos in the background. So I did multiple trips of wood farming for some charcoal, collected some hide and fiber since I needed that for the saddles, bred some of the Thylos as I needed my army, and started working on the saddles. 49, the farming got pretty intense, more like a sweatshop, as everyone at base got involved, young and old. Pretty much spent the entire day making bullets and turrets, and by that evening we were basically ready. Finally, we arrived at our battle station, so I made quick work of placing a turret tower and a minigun, and built somewhat of a trap. Our army was lined up, waiting in anticipation for the dodo rigs. We had everything that we needed. Preparation was done. Everything would come down to this moment as we waited for midnight to break. Finally, midnight was there, and we had our dodo sacrifices ready to go as we started our chant. Dodo rigs, dodo rigs, dodo rigs. And miraculously, it worked. The Dodo Rex has spawned in, and we're about to start the fight. Alright, Mr. Rex. I think we've got our Dodo Rex inside. He's... Yep, that's definitely him.
We've got a problem. We have a very big problem.
And of course, in all the excitement, I forgot our main weapon.
You forgot to turn on the turrets.
Oh no! I've got this. I just shook my head in negativity. Alright, Thylos, you're gonna have to keep him busy for daddy for a second. This is a big balls move. Luckily, I got the turrets on just in time, as our Thylo army was starting to get absolutely slaughtered by the Dodo Rex.
Tell me there's still some left, because I'm still down here.
I used my pro grapple skills to get up back to the minigun turret as quick as possible.
Sorry, I'm providing covering fire from above.
And I was able to remount the minigun turret as we gave the final death blows to the Dodo Rex.
Reloading.
And there we go, we got him down.
Yeah, boy.
Alright now, Mr. Rex, I believe we had a deal.
We did. You did well. And for that, I will give you this your much awaited prize.
I'm so nervous to... Yep, that's exactly what I was expecting.
Bruh.
Actually, I was thinking I was gonna get like a blueprint for a cable or something.
I suppose you could have this. I prefer the other prize, so I think it's better. But
This will definitely be useful on my challenge, and... Oh, well. Literally just like that. He disappeared. At the start of day 51, I realized Mr. Rex stole my griffin. So, I was forced to take the remaining survivors on top of the Quetzal and fly the long way back to home. I then grabbed my boat and went out for the final ocean artifact. I was hoping escaping on the water would get me away from all these annoying land spirits, but boy was I wrong.
Another very nice, easy artifact. After Edward gave me a jump scare, we grabbed the artifact and we made our way to the surface. But other plans were in store, as we were about to be visited by yet another spirit. The third and final creature that inspired me to do this journey, our special guest star, Crowmeda. Raft is around here somewhere. What the hell's going on there? My raft was getting absolutely obliterated, so I quickly climbed up the Mosa and made it up to the surface just in time to try and hop on and save the raft. Oh boy. I think I'm kind of stuck here. Okay, I surrender, mister. What do you want?
Yo ho, ye scurvy dog. It be not every day a mortal landlubber paddles his greasy flesh into my domain, and I might be a forgetful old sea dog after a millennia of imprisonment, but I be known for a fact that ye have not asked permission to sail in my seas. State your name, Sand Kisser.
Well, I'm Kruger Ops. Kind of woke up on this island 50 days ago, tasked with a journey to do 100 days of hardcore to beat the alpha bosses.
So ye be Kruger Ops. Well, me boy, ye be speaking to the one and only PinkBeard, the greatest and only pirate to have traversed the wrathful waves of this plain. Now, I suggest ye make your way on board. Grab a rum and sit down. We're about to have a wee chat.
I literally just shat myself as I walked in here. Mr. Pirate, I don't see any rum. I think the rum's gone.
Why is the rum always gone? Well, Kruger, Lady Luck be on ye side this time. But the spirit realm has been speaking highly of your feats. You see, to be set free, you need to bring me body parts, which have been scattered around the map, to my sunken ship. Yours truly would do it himself, but me soul is trapped on this here ship, you see. Therefore, I cannot do this task myself.
I don't really have much time for another adventure. What if I refuse?
You must have salt water in ye ears, for I do not remember asking. To make it worth your while, I might be able to return a certain fishy friend of yours who has been oh so lonely and scared since ye both parted. I believe to be thinking ye left it alone for dead.
Wait. You mean my angler? She's alive? So about 20 days ago, when I was out searching for a Mosa, my angler got super spooked by a Megalodon, and I lost it. Even though I searched for it high and low, it was nowhere to be found. Alright, fine. I'll do it. I seriously need to tell Mr. Boney to stop talking about me in the spirit realms.
Ha! Wonderful. Safe passage to sail PinkBeard seas. Granted.
Just a second. Where exactly do I find your bones?
First, ye make your way over to the lair of the mask, a mushroom cave on the map border, where me two armies laid with one another. Thereafter, the ship's stowaway chamber near the old lighthouse. You then head over to the hidden waterfall cave near the Viking Bay. Next up, is the Pirate Cove, a once magical village where we all used to come together and lay with only the finest wenches. Sorry, in your tongue that'd be hookers. Finally, the torture chamber of disobedient slaves, where ye will end up if you fail the task at hand. Once all bones of me body are collected, you return them to the sunken ship where I lost my final battle. You do this before the setting sun on the day of the 5th. I'll be looking into your efforts through me tentacle troopers. Now, ye scallywag, brave the briny deep, and remember to not set foot in Davy Jones' locker. It'd be a horrible place. I would know. Fuck. Sorry, my voice completely, my throat dried up for the last bit.
Of course, it even starts to rain. Okay, Mr. PinkBeard, I'll do my best. I am gonna use this opportunity while I'm scouting for these bones to collect the water tributes that I need. Alright, so we need Basilosaur, Megalodon, and Tuso tributes. And I'm definitely gonna venture off. There's a little bit of a secret side mission. I'll hopefully grab a bunch of them. Yeah, this is it. This is the entrance. Okay, perfect. Alright, now I've got no idea what I'm looking for here. So I arrived at the first mysterious cave, where Captain PinkBeard's first bone should be located, and I started searching around. Right, we've got a bin here randomly. There we go, we got our first bone. Okay, awesome. 1 down and 4 more to go. So here we go. There's our mysterious torches and yet another bin. Awesome. On day 53, I went out to grab the 3rd bone, and I decided to take the long way around, hopefully to grab some tributes on my swim towards the next one. There we go. I think Captain PinkBeard underestimated how well I know this map. Like, this challenge is becoming way too easy for me. Right, so it's again too dark to continue searching. Luckily, I've got the blubber and the megalodon tooth sorted. I just need Tusos now. Oh boy, that's an alpha. That's an alpha. No, 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 no. Get away, get away, get away, get away. I don't know if I can take him. Tell me you're not that high of a level. 25, I don't know. Honestly, guys, I don't know if I can do this. But he's got me now. The Alpha Tuso had me in his tentacles, and I was forced to fight him. And of course, he was too scared to take us on alone. So he had so many reinforcements. I think at the time I had a total of 5 Tusos on me. So I continued fighting, and I must say, Edward was quite the beast. I noticed the Alpha Tuso started to get super bloody, so I knew I was close to my victory. But then, they did a little switcheroo as he sprayed me with ink. Wait, you're not the Alpha, but luckily I managed to spot him, and I went after him, as I knew just this one Alpha would get me all the tributes I would need. Come on, Edward. Seriously, Mr. Squid? There we go, I think that's him down. Yep. Awesome. Oh, and what's that, a Mastercraft fishing rod? That's pretty cool. Once that was all done, I made my way over to the 4th bone location. This is the part that goes lower down. I started searching all around the sunken village. Going through all the different levels, but just not finding the bin. If my scuba tank breaks before I find this thing, I'm not gonna be very happy. I then stumbled upon a mysterious beer brewery and what could only be described as another slave quarters. I got a little bit worried that I wasn't finding the bin anyway and my scuba was about to break, but on my way out I finally found it. Oh, I think this is it. Yeah. There we go, our 4th bone. Hopefully we can track this slave chambers down. Ooh, we got ourselves some torches again. Hey there, buddy. I'm assuming his escape didn't go as planned. Oh wow, this is a creepy place. I don't even want to know what happened to this dude. Is that it? Yeah, we got our 5th bone. Okay, awesome. I want to get out of here. This is just freaking me out at this point. At the start of day 55, I made my way over to Captain PinkBeard's sunken ship and returned the bones of his body. Now, Mr. PinkBeard didn't give me a guide or anything, so I'm assuming I'm just dropping it here in the center. Here goes nothing. Is that doing anything? Oh boy. Alright, I think it definitely did something. Is that Captain PinkBeard himself? So I followed him back up to his ship, and just as I reached the surface, I saw Captain PinkBeard go back in his human form, and I knew my task was accomplished successfully. Now it was time for him to hold his end of the bargain. Do I have permission to come aboard?
Permission granted, me boy. Well done, Kruger. It feels good to have me flesh back. Now, to uphold my end of the bargain, a token of my gratitude, being the kind sailor that I am.
Well, I was actually surprised you weren't lying about this. May I have that cryopod, please, kind sir? I didn't really brought spare ones.
Hey, why not?
Thank you. I guess I'm gonna have a long swim back to base.
No need for that, me hearty. Another token of my gratitude is that I towed ye boat over here for ye.
Oh, thank you, Captain PinkBeard. I don't know if I can call it a boat anymore since it's pretty much halfway destroyed. But I do appreciate it. So I decided to quickly cry up the angler. Alright, time for me to get out of here. I really have to get back to doing some things.
Safe travels, me boy. May the seas treat you well.
Thank you, Captain PinkBeard. It was fun. Let's just call it that. As I was sailing away, I noticed something blinking on deck.
And Kruger, next time you be looking for tributes, don't do it on me time.
I knew you should never trust a pirate. We are off on day 56 to go get ourselves a Wyvern egg yet again. Now I really hope this time it would be the final egg that I would need. One of the earlier nests with a good egg, because I'm not in the mood for a crazy chase today. And we were, since the first egg we got was a 155. There we go. Once we grab the egg, we head over to our trap to make a quick escape. Hopefully we don't have any tails on our ass. Kinda looks like the coast is clear, so... Definitely one of the easiest egg grabs I've had so far. Made my way home, hatched the Wyvern, and I named him Charizard. I went out hunting for Thyloclaws, then this happened. I got glitched into a Thylo that started trying to drown me. What is going on with the game today? I couldn't move at all, and my oxygen was quickly depleting. Excuse me, sir. I was getting somewhat concerned, but luckily we got to a shallow point and the Thylo started attacking me. How is this okay? It took me until we were underwater. Now I'm drowning. Oh boy. Cheating Thylo. Finally, we spotted the final Thylo. So after going in for the landing, we slaughtered the Thylo and we finally had all the talents we required. On day 58, we made our way over to the treacherous swamp, so we could murder some Sarcos and Titan boas. And we found a bunch of little swamp puppies all the time that we tried to save. But of course, Capros knocked him out of my reach and I couldn't rescue the poor little puppy. I did try my best to get rid of the Capro. Leave that poor little whatever it is alone, little Capro. And the Wyvern actually came in to murder him. Try to save you, buddy. You're okay. You're not dead. Come on, you're not dead. You just need water again, right? He did. This was pretty much a occurrence throughout the swamp. The poor Diprocolis, or swamp puppies as I like to call them, were getting bullied left, right and center. I tried to save as many and avenge the ones that I couldn't, while at the same time collecting my tributes. And yet again, Charizard was not that helpful at all. So I was forced to fight off all the tanky Sarcos on my own. Luckily, I had my shotgun with me. On day 59, I was pretty adamant to complete all the land tributes, so I started murdering some Megalanias on the beach. They were also dropping 2 Megalania toxin each, so we only had to find a total of 13 of them. There's a lot of them here. See about 3 in this area, so 4. Definitely think one of these are gonna help us finish our journey, and it's the first one. Awesome. That's Titan Boa Venom done as well. Now we've just got the Spinos, RGs, and Vertebrates left. There's our first RG right there. So we then started focusing on RGs as well as Vertebrates wherever we could come across a Diplo or a Bronto. That is, if you can even call them Brontos. Just look at this. Okay, because that makes a lot of sense. Are you an inflatable Bronto? You're not a real one. Once the RGs were done, we made our way over to the canyon in search for some Spinos. We also found quite a lot of Diplos here, so we could finish up all the Spino sales and Diplos. And by that evening, we pretty much had everything ready to go. The last thing that now remained for us to do were breeding and saddle farming. So this would be the final journey. Alright, so moment of truth. Let's see if we've got everything that we need. Now this next bit, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, because we just did a bunch of boring farming. We collected metal, hide, and fiber, as we needed to make a total of 9 Mastercraft rake saddles that were pretty expensive. We were only able to average about 2 saddles a day, so it took a total of 5 days to get all the saddles done. So, a lot of metal farming. A lot of fiber farming. And a lot of hide farming. So, for keeping the video as moderately short as I possibly can, I don't want to bore you with all this continuous farming. So let's just say for the next 5 days, this is pretty much what I did. Going around for metal, fiber and hide. And finally, on day 66, I was able to return with a final little bit of hide that I needed to complete the final saddle. And I think that should be my final one. Saddles, we've done it. Alright. Now if you're a sensitive viewer, you're not going to want to look for this part, as I started doing a lot of Rex breeding. I had to get the high melee and the high health into the lines blended together. So unfortunately, all the babies that weren't so lucky with their stats were slaughtered by the other Rexes for some levels. Finally, I had 2 babies that had the high HP and the high melee. I now had the breeding pair I required to prepare my Rex army. And on day 70, I had 9 Rexes saddled up and ready to go. So I then walked all of them down a waterfall to get them to follow me the long way towards Greenop. It literally took us a full day just to get to the swamp area. But finally I was at a place where I could get them leveled up. So I had all the Rexes follow me around on neutral. And I bullied some swamp creatures in revenge for the swamp poppies. Finally I made it to Green Arm. And we spent another 2 days murdering all the Brontos, terror birds, raptors and trikes in the area. And on day 75 I started lining up all the Rexes around Green Arm. And I leveled them up. Luckily they had quite a lot of meat on them from all the murdering, so they would pretty much heal up over time, and they had a lot of hide in their inventory, so that would definitely help towards contributing for the Theri saddles that I had to do next. Finally, I hopped on Charizard, looked proudly onto my Rex army, and made my way back to base to restart the process all over again. So on day 76 I grabbed my Theri BP. Oh boy, that's expensive. Alright, that's definitely gonna take me some time. But then we encountered quite a big problem. The smithy didn't have enough space for all the resources needed to make the saddle. Then I remembered about these guys. Nice. So I went in to trank out the RG. I was too lazy to make a trap and I knew I had an overpowered long neck. So after a few shots, he went down. I slaughtered a nearby stego for some prime meat. Then I spotted some sabers on the mountain. I should have taken the guy more seriously, as literally a few seconds before the RG tamed up, he made his way over to say hi. And of course, he had to go and eat the RG right before it tamed up. Freaking sabers, man. By the next day, I spotted another high level one. It was a 145, so I was pretty happy, and I got him knocked out. And this time I would sit on the back of Charizard and carefully watch my surroundings until he was tamed up. And I named the RG Final Hope, as that was pretty much what he was. Final Hope would be the answer we're looking for. I then got a saddle on him and took him over to the canyon to spend the next day and a half absolutely slaughtering everything on sight to get him max level. And once that was done, I took the Theri out to get the final wood needed, and the moment of truth was finally here. We chucked everything in his inventory, and a sigh of relief came when we were able to make saddles. So again, the next 3 days involved hide farming, fiber farming, and metal farming. And finally, on day 82, we made our final saddle. Finally, that is the final saddle. Now, you already know the drill. With the Theris, we were quite lucky to get some mutations.
That's so cool.
But also unlucky as a lot of our eggs glitched under the map. We got a second mutation, and it had both the stats that we wanted. Mass breeding started,
Got a blue mutation.
and we got a new stud. So of course we had to slaughter all the previous versions. And then we got these fellas.
Now these are some cool looking Theri.
Finally, we grabbed ourselves our snow gear, and we took all our tickle chickens to go level up as well. They were pretty mutated and looking all nice and sexy. So we went out to kill a whole bunch of mammoths, woolly rhinos, and everything in sight in the snow area. Spent about 2 days here, and finally, on day 89, they were pretty much as leveled up as they were gonna be. So I loaded them back up onto the Quetzal, and we took the long flight over to Greenark. Once we arrived, we grabbed some berries with each one of the tickle chickens, and we lined them up. We then leveled them all up, and they had enough food on them so they would heal up over time. We now had just 10 days remaining to work on our own gear. Then I realized I still didn't have the veggie cakes. So I quickly looked on proudly at my army, and I knew I had to get a move on to start working on the veggie cakes. So I quickly made my way back to base and waited for the morning, sitting with Stupid, the other. On day 91, we woke up well rested. Now this next part might seem like it goes by pretty quickly and effortlessly, but trust me, I was quite nervous. I quickly cryoed up the Yuri, since I didn't have any saddle BPs for it, and he was already leveled up. And I made my way over to one of my smithies where I had a Daedon saddle BP. Surprisingly, it wasn't very expensive, so I was able to make good of everything I had at my disposal. Once the saddle was crafted, I put it on top of Mr. Bacon and cryoed him up. I then collected some metal since I still needed to repair my armor, and this would take some time to burn, and went out to gather some narco berries to make some narcotics, and tinto berries so that we could leave everything in the cooker overnight to have our med brews starting to cook up. We weren't messing around, we went for 200 just in case. On day 92, yes, on day 92 I only realized I had crystal that spawned right below base, so I collected what I could and went out to grab some organic polymer. I also grabbed some silica pearls. I wanted to make myself a riot gear helmet, and I had a pretty expensive BP, so finally on that evening I arrived back at base, dropped everything off, but the fabricator didn't have enough space, so I was forced to make hardpot. Went out with the Anki to collect some obsidian, and I got all the cementing paste from all the beaver dams I could possibly find. And by that evening I made it back to base, dropped everything in the fabricator, but it's quite a tedious process to make poly, so it literally took a full day. By the end of day 94, I finally had my riot gear helmet and I could repair all my armor. I now had the gear I would need to take on the boss. I went out for one more trip to collect some stimberries to make some stimulant, as I really needed to start working on the veggie cakes. So I made myself my tree sap collectors, grabbed the remaining veggies that I still had, which I probably should have left until I had everything I needed because some of it's spoiled, and finally made my way over to the redwoods to drop off my sap collectors. I then spent the rest of the day searching for a beehive, but I only managed to track one down on day 95. Luckily this time the bees weren't glitched, so I could see the guys that were attacking me, but I was able to kill them off with Charizard every time in between. I had the occasional lighting myself on fire from time to time if the bees knocked me off while I was using some flame breath, but overall I managed to get all the honey that I needed. I then safely made my way back to base just before the end of day 95 and dropped off all the honey. By the start of day 96, I made my way over to the redwoods again to grab all the tree sap that was ready to go. I then placed all the ingredients in the industrial cooker and waited for my sweet veggie cakes to cook up. I then realized my tree sap was a little bit on the short side, so I made it back for one final trip, grabbed whatever tree sap was ready yet again, and was able to make the final veggie cakes just before it spoiled. And finally, I cooked myself some steak so that I would have food, grabbed everything that I would need, and I made my way over to Green Op. Once I reached, I chucked out Mr. Bacon, and I gave all the Theris their 2 veggie cakes for the fight. I also filled up Mr. Bacon with some meat, and threw out the Yuri. I was now pretty much ready to go, so I took one final moment to look onto my boss-ready army. I also took a moment to name all of the Rexes and Theris after everyone that's been commenting throughout the series. So if you see your name, be sure to let me know down in the comment section. Thank you guys for all your support throughout this series. I then took in one final night, threw out overs, and took a moment to go say goodbye to the map.
I know that you're curious, I know that you're strong, but life can be furious and things can go wrong. You go, we're better off tomorrow, but who knows if we get joy or sorrow. Stay true to that fire in your heart and your soul. Don't drench your desire in what you can't control. We fly, try so hard to get there, and we might be lost but not forever. There's things in life you simply need to know, but sun and rain and trust in letting go. It takes a bit of suffering, sleepless nights and wandering, before you make it safely to the end, the end, the end. Don't say you're ridiculous, you're not even close. Don't wish for indifference, you're not one of those. We fall, but we always rise up through it all. We get a little wiser.
As I was making my way back from saying goodbye to the map, I was about to have company yet again.
You need to clean your bones off down there, Zany, there, Mr. Boney. Your bones are like a little bit dirty, your legs.
It's style.
I feel like you need to clean those.
Oh boy, what are these guys doing here again?
Oi,
Hey, Kruger!
May, can't be. I killed him myself.
This must be a tremendous battle. It's drawn the finest of all the spirits.
Kruger, we are here to serve in your finest hours.
For presenting yourselves on this battlefield, I give you thanks.
I personally didn't come here to fight. I was simply exploring on me space whale.
I was just stopping by to return the griffin. Besides, we can't fight these monsters. They're too powerful. They'll surely re-kill us.
Spirits of Ragnarok, I am Kruger Ops.
Nay, Kruger Ops is dead.
Kruger Ops is the hero of the spirit realm.
I have heard survives the challenge of 100, and if he were here, he'd consume the manticore with lightning from Zeus and slay the dragon with fireballs from Logos, his dead wyverns. I am Kruger Ops, and I see before me a whole army of trapped spirits here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight for so many, to be released from your forever entrapment. What would you do for that freedom? Would you fight?
Fight? Against that? No. Run, and we will live, kinda.
Aye. Fight, and you may die. Run, and you'll live, at least for a while. And dying in your tech sleeping pods, many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all of this, from this day to that, for one chance, just one chance, to tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom? Onwards, comrades! And with that motivational speech, the boss fight was about to begin. Hold on to your butts.
I thought it's maybe like level 110 or something. Okay, it's 90 actually.
Everything looks like
Okay,
it's
here we go. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.
This is Sparta!
Oh, my nerves are killing me, man.
For glory and for honor!
For Ragnarok!
Freedom! There we go, it's the freedom one.
Yay!
Okay.
Alright. There we go. Right, hold off on the manticore a little bit if you can.
If the manticore's on the floor, you just go for it.
Yeah. But just don't, if it gets close to half, wait up a bit. Let's go closer to the dragon. Don't engage too much, Alright. Watch out for the fireballs.
My entire thing is completely frozen. Okay, wait, I got it now. I'm setting my theories to go attack the dragon.
Yeah, it's right behind me. Why are these theories not attacking?
I don't know.
All I know is we need to get that UT buff more often.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get an angle where... Oh, the dragon's about to go, boys. The dragon's about to go.
Yeah, let's get him!
Yep.
There we go. Alright.
Alright, try and get past the... I don't need this right now. Nice.
Let's get him!
I ended up just jumping on a Theri because all my Rexes were stuck.
Right, he's down again.
He just landed on him. Oh boy! He's angry! I see Kruger being carried by the Yudi in its arms.
And that should be it.
There we go.
There we go.
That was a lot easier than what I was expecting.
That did seem too easy, to be honest.
That did seem kind of easy.
Yeah, like this was a bit of a understatement for 100 days. Wait, something's happening. There we go.
Oh wait, there we go.
There it is. There's the rubber band.
And after our victory, and being released from Ragnarok forever, we decided to go spend one final night in celebration.
Of all the money that I had, I spent it in good company. And all the harm that I've done, alas, it was to none but me. And all I've done, for want of a wit, to memory now I can't recall. So fell to me the parting glass. Good night and joy be with you all. Oh, all the comrades that e'er I had, they're sorry for my going away. And all the sweethearts that e'er I've loved, they'd wish me one more day to stay. But since it falls unto my lot that I should rise and you should, I'll gently rise and softly call. Good night and joy be with you all. Good night and joy be with you all.
Oh boy. Here we go again. Where are we this time?